Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited that we made this happen and
Same.
all from a DM and a follow.
I know, and it's so crazy that
Crazy.
you're in Sweden.
I
I
know.
feel so blessed. Thank you for coming
Honestly.
here.
Oh my gosh, anytime. It is incredible. And we've been here 24 hours and we love it. It's
Uh-huh.
so nice. I feel so calm. And we had dinner with you last night, which was lovely. And
Except from you almost dying.
oh my God.
I
That
screamed
was
inside.
crazy. We were laughing so much. So basically, when, just to everyone listening, I walked into the restaurant and I saw you and I was waving. I was waving and one of my legs like shot out to the
I can't.
side and I nearly like flew into the table. Like, oh my God, it was so
It wasn't
embarrassing.
good.
But it was an entrance.
It was. And I felt like I saw your head, and then all of a sudden your head wasn't there anymore. It was like a level under, and I'm like, what happened?
Just like playing it cool.
Yeah,
Just,
I
yeah.
love that though.
But yeah, so we obviously had such a good chat
Yeah.
last night. So sorry if I'm repeating some
No,
things,
please.
but I'm so excited to get into this. You have built the most incredible brand and business and following as well, and real genuine community, which I just think is so unique to you guys. And I wanted to start by actually talking about your mum because she is the coolest person ever.
Yep.
So, how do I pronounce her name? Is it Ulrika?
It's Ulrika.
Ulrika.
Yeah, Ulrika. But it's a really hard name in English.
She
Yeah.
is the coolest. She has
Yes.
bright pink hair. She has the coolest Instagram, so everyone has to go and follow her. But can you tell me, because I was interested this morning when I was doing some research as to how this has all happened. And then I was thinking about your mum and her Instagram, and she's just seems so authentic and so genuine. And do you feel like your parents have really instilled that in you?
100%. We lived in Monterey, California when I was younger.
Okay.
So those years were very like it really did define me and who I am as a person.
Yeah.
In the first year, I didn't know how to speak English. School was really tough. My mom could be with me 20 minutes, and then she wasn't allowed in class anymore. So she would always get a call from the principal's office, being like, "Hi, Miss Djerf, Mrs. Djerf, Matilda saying she's feeling a little sick. I think it's best that you come and pick her up." So my mom would always pick me up, and we would do like a 20-minute drive to Carmel, and then we would have lemon squares, and I would like visit like different like fashion shops with her. There was this one store called, I believe it was like Star Child, and I think that's really where like first of all like our relationship became so strong. Like she's really been my best friend ever since.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's also where kind of my love for fashion really started, because she would always take me to these shops and she would always let me just be me and be myself. And I think that has really made me who I am as a person today.
So, what age was that when you were in
That
California?
I really should know this, but that was 2006,
Yeah.
and I'm 27 today, and I'm
Okay.
born 97. So I was 9, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think.
maybe. Somebody needs to double check that when they listen, but yeah, I was like around 9 to 11, I think.
Okay.
So yeah.
So quite formative years, and
Yeah.
you were in this new school, didn't really speak much English, and in America out on your own, and then your mum would come and rescue you from
She
school.
would.
So what was it about school that you didn't love?
Well, I think for when we lived in US, why I didn't love school then was just simply because I didn't know the language.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't communicate.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in class just like bawling my eyes out. But then I think it took me like 2-3 weeks, and then I kind of had like the basics down, because we would write like a daily journal every day. And then one morning I walked up to Mrs. Brown, my teacher, and I just asked like, "Mrs. Brown, is it okay if I write in English this time?" So I think in the US it was just like the language barrier that
Yeah.
really made it difficult for me. But then I absolutely hated school when I lived in Sweden as well. So
Oh no. And do you feel like that had such an impact on how you are so genuine and you give so much to your community? Do you feel like you almost picture your younger self in a sense?
yeah, 100%. I feel like for me, when I started with Instagram and when I suddenly realized that, okay, all of a sudden I have a voice and people actually listen to what I'm saying, I realized that, okay, but I need to be the person that I wish I could look up to when I was a teenager. Because like in the years when, you know, Instagram started, I had Tumblr as well. It was really just like destructive. I had an eating disorder that I was in the middle of,
Yeah.
and I just had nobody to look up to on social media platforms. So when I started realizing that, okay, like I have something to say, I just made sure that it was from my heart and that it felt good, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And what was the turning point, do you think, for you that you went from like being in the thick of it yourself and having to deal with those emotions yourself to then being a voice and inspiration for other people to then, do you know what I mean? Almost like you've gone from being someone that was suffering
Yeah.
to being someone that is like almost like a spokesperson and a
Yeah.
friend to so many.
I mean, I don't really know when the turning point was. I just remember
Yeah.
kind of like realizing that, oh, like people that I don't know are now following me, and people are now in some weird way that I didn't really understand. Like they're looking up to me, like they actually look up to me and what I have to say.
Yeah.
But I don't remember like what
What was the
happened.
moment? Yeah.
I just remember feeling like, okay, I have a responsibility now that I felt like I didn't have prior to that day.
And did that come with a certain amount of followers where you were like, okay, now it's a platform versus just, you know, like a hobby? Was it kind of
Yeah,
as you grew?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what was it that made you grow? What was it that made you start your Instagram and start sharing? And did you always want to be a content creator in the beginning, or how did it all begin in the Instagram side of things?
I mean, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be working with what I'm working with today, like when I
Yeah.
started out. And for me, it wasn't like I created an Instagram with the goal to become an influencer or content creator. It was more so me and my boyfriend were traveling after high school. I created a blog because I wanted my, you know, friends and family to be able to follow. I had my Instagram account, and I had already, prior to that trip, I had started posting because I've always loved like photo shoots, photography,
Yeah.
creative. Like I've always loved fashion. So even when I was like, I wonder how old I was. Maybe I was like 13. I had another blog, and I forced my friend to model, and like I would take black and white photos of her, and I like smudge the mascara with water. It was a Twilight competition. I
Oh my
love
God.
Twilight, so it was like a photo. It was like a quote from Twilight. It was so bad, but I did win, and I won like one of those
Amazing.
little like reflection
Plaques
lights.
things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever that was.
To help you with your
Exactly.
photography journey.
Exactly. So I've always just loved the creative aspect.
Yeah.
And then I started the Instagram, and I just quickly we were in Caribbean. I hit 3,000 followers when I came home, and I was like, holy moly, 3,000 followers, like so many people. And Rasmus, he was like, Matilda, you can do 10,000. And I was like, I could never do 10,000. And then like it just upped all the time. And it just came from, I don't really know where it came from. I just did what I loved. I shared what I found like inspiring, and it just kind of went from there.
And what age were you then? And when you were on holiday with Rasmus? And Rasmus is your boyfriend
Yeah,
who you've been
boyfriend.
with for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years, CEO of the company as well.
Yeah.
I believe I must have been, that was like 2016, so I must have been like 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so sweet that he was really believing in you and telling
Yeah.
you you could do it from
Yeah.
day one.
He really has been like my biggest cheerleader since day one.
That's so
Yeah.
nice. And what role did he play back then? Because you were telling me last night that he
Yeah.
was helping you when you were doing Instagram.
Yeah. So in the beginning, when we just had Instagram, he would always take the photos. We were in Caribbean, and he would like stand with his little. Back then, we had like the digital camera, and funny enough, like digital cameras are now trendy
Yeah.
again. But back then, it was like super untrendy to stand with a digital camera because everybody had like their big cameras, and we were standing with this like tiny one shooting on like random beaches in the Caribbean. So he would take the photos, and then he would also do the invoices eventually when I started getting paid.
Okay.
So that must have been like a year later when we were traveling to Bali in Australia.
And how did you make the decision to work together in the beginning? Did you ask? Did he ask? Was it just natural? How does it work?
I mean, funny enough, I think it just like kind of happened. Like it felt like such a natural step.
Yeah.
Because we were traveling together, and then especially when we were in like Bali in Australia, we were so far away from, you know, all of our friends and family. And I wanted to, I mean, we were making money off of my Instagram. That was
Yeah.
how we could continue to travel. So I think it was just like such a given thing that he would help out because he was also, you know, traveling
Part
with the
of the
money.
journey.
Exactly. Like we were making money. I wasn't making money. We were doing it
Yeah.
because he was helping me. I mean, without Rasmus, I wouldn't be where I am today because he, you know, made it all happen with with me.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to take the photos and somebody
And
needs to
come on
help
all the
out.
trips.
Exactly. But funny enough, like he also started taking photos. So he like shot campaigns when we were in Bali in Australia.
No
And
way.
I did this like design collaboration with a Swedish brand. And this was maybe like 2018.
Okay.
And he shot that entire campaign in Bahamas. And it was amazing. He's such a good photographer.
Wow.
Yeah.
And does he ever do that now? Or
No.
has he just,
No.
everything else is
Yeah,
just
everything else.
covering
He
his
left
time?
photography behind.
And how did you, so, okay, so you started building this following, and was it a snowball gradual effect, or was
Yeah.
there like, people talk about this viral moment. Did you have that, or was it more
I think it
gradual?
was more like a gradual effect. And back then, I mean, I remember my photos like being reposted all the time because I feel like that was the era of like reposting images all the time. And like, you know,
Yes.
brands reposted, like other profiles reposted. So I think that really helped. But I didn't have like a moment of viralness or something
No.
like big that happened. I did have one image though, I now remember. When we were in Aruba, I sat with like flamingos. And that photo I remember was like my first like viral
Big.
photo.
Okay. But that's actually probably, I mean, now just as you're saying, I'm thinking maybe why you have such a strong, solid
Yeah.
community is because it has been so gradual versus the, you know, nowadays you see
Exactly.
people go viral overnight on TikTok, but they don't really know you.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why you have that strong sense of community. And then you launched Djerf, which is just the most unbelievable company. And I mean, we were lucky enough to meet Alex and your team last night, who was so sweet, and everyone just sounds like they're having the best time working with you guys. And this office is so inspiring to be in. So how did you take your Instagram passion and just naturally sharing what you do into a business? What was the reason you even did that? Talk to me about the whole beginning.
Well, I think like the biggest reason was I've always wanted to be my own boss. Like even from when I was a teenager, and like I was working at a juice bar. I was I don't know what it's called. It's like called like a fishmonger, like selling fish at a fish
Oh yes, I
disc.
heard this.
Yeah.
I love that.
I worked as like a cleaner at a hotel. I've done a lot of different jobs.
Yeah.
And every single job that I had, I always felt really stuck by the people above me. Like I would have an idea of like improvement or efficiency, but I could never do anything with it because the boss would always, you know, want to go like the super traditional way.
Yes.
So I think that passion to be my own boss started at a really early age. And even when I worked at that fish store, my uncle was like, it wouldn't surprise me if Matilda one day like owned the entire store.
Yeah.
I didn't want to own that entire store, but the passion, I think that's been like the number one thing for me always. So when I started Instagram, when I did get a following, I also started working more like with modeling jobs, and then I got in touch with a lot of like bigger brands, and I did design collaborations. I did 2 design collaborations with 2 Australian brands, and then 2 design collaborations with 2 Swedish brands.
Okay.
And every single time I did a design collaboration, I was always very hands-on. I would always like design the items with them. I would always, you know, choose the materials, fabrics. But I always felt, again, really stuck because I was never allowed to know which country will be produced and like the pricing strategy, like the rollout strategy. There were so many things that I wasn't allowed to have a say in. And then I did the one with the Swedish company. And when that sold out, Rasmus was like, Matilda, should we not just try to do this on our own? You have such a clear passion. And he saw like the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
So we just said, why
Let's
not?
go for it.
Yeah, so naive. Like we had no clue.
But that's the best way, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
if you knew, you would
We
be
wouldn't have
so
done it.
scared.
Yeah.
Or you would be like, oh my God, our life is about to change. Like,
Exactly.
not only for the better, but also like the work that I see you put in. If you knew what it actually took. So sometimes that like ignorance is bliss type of thing.
100%.
So how did you come up with the name? Obviously it's your surname, but did you always have that in mind?
The name was actually really difficult because, you know, it's a name and like at the end of the day, it's what people will know you for, and you want it to be, you know, a forever kind of name. So we were like going back and forth. We had no clue, and we were playing around with like a bunch of different ideas. But we knew that we wanted Djerf to be in the name just because it was like so tied to me, and we knew that I was going to be such a big part of it. So we were sitting at a cafe called All Time in Los Feliz in Los Angeles. And it's on Hillhurst Avenue, and we were sitting there, and then I like look up and I see the Avenue sign, and I was just like, Djerf Avenue. And to some, it might be a really strange name, but for me, the name kind of embodies what the brand is.
Yeah.
So we had this big idea of like Djerf Avenue. We want you to feel like you're kind of stepping into our world. You know, you're on this avenue, and then like on the left, there's a clothing store, and on the right, there's the beauty store, and then there's a little flower shop where you can kind of like hang out with people, and then there's, you know, another place where you can hang out. So kind of like, I just want people to feel like they're breathing Djerf Avenue. And that's kind of how the name came about.
And they're really like stepping into your world, and all the
Exactly.
activations and all the events you
Yeah.
do is kind of building that out. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's the perfect name.
It's a little difficult though. The Djerf part is a little difficult, but
Do you think so?
we're
What,
trying.
internationally? Do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
Well, I think in
What are the
general.
funniest things you've heard people, how do people pronounce it?
Oh, I have so many different ones.
Really?
No, like so many different ones. I don't even know where to begin, but yeah, there's been a lot of weird versions of my name.
But apparently that is a good starting point for a name if you have
Yeah.
something weird that people don't necessarily, because then it like sticks.
Exactly.
And so it all makes sense. So tell me about the beginning, because you were packing your own orders for a really long time. Like, how did the beginning look like? Because obviously now people looking at you, it's like the finished product. And I know that you share so much of the behind the scenes and everything, but I still think it's hard to really understand
Yeah.
the beginning and the struggles and the challenges and the scrappiness. So tell me about that.
Well, we did everything. I mean, from like the smallest things to the biggest things. The first thing we did was decide on the name. No, actually, the first thing we did was reach out to different like factories in Portugal.
Okay.
And I just Googled, and I Googled and Googled and Googled, because I couldn't actually like physically visit Portugal because I was on photo shoots. And we needed to be on the photo shoots because we needed to make money to be able to finance the brand. So I remember I was in Cape Town, and I had a photo shoot that day. I woke up and I was just emailing different factories and agencies. Nobody replied except one, and we still work with that agency today. I'm very like loyal when it comes to people I work with. But then after that, we had some help from my brother's now wife, Agnes. So she was from like the textile industry, so she had a lot of knowledge, which we didn't. Like, I had no clue what like a photo sample or a production sample was. I simply like knew nothing. I just knew what I wanted to design and what I wanted the material to feel like, and all of like the creative parts. And then we also hired a web agency just to help us build the website. But then when we had the website, when we had the first products, like the campaign shoots, like the e-com images, I uploaded the images on the website. I wrote the descriptions. I like manually, we manually added the stock. Like, we did everything. And then we would launch, and then we would pack our orders. Then we would go back to customer service, then pack orders again, then upload images on Instagram, like answer DMs. So we were literally doing like everything. And we did that for quite some time. We hired our first team member, Agnes, we hired in April. So we launched December 2019. And then April 2020, we hired Agnes.
That's crazy.
So when she started, she helped us out with like literally also everything. And then we packed our orders for about a year. And then end of fall 2020, we were like, we can't physically do this anymore, because we had rented this little office in Stockholm, and it was like a 2-story house. So downstairs, we just had boxes everywhere, and we would always like call our friends and ask them like, can you please come out and help us pack? We have a drop today. And people would come, and we would like buy them pizza and like make sure that it felt like a really good time, when in reality it was just like super stressful. And then once we like launched, we were upstairs, like we posted everything, then we would run downstairs, pack the orders, run back up, do customer service, and it was just like mayhem. Yeah, it was crazy.
But now, you've built this huge business, but it's so powerful knowing that you know every step.
Exactly.
Like, if someone, even like a time thing, how long things take. Or if someone's off sick, you can like step in. It's such a powerful thing to know all of that.
Well, for me and Rasmus, it was like the main thing when we started. We said we really want to understand all aspects of the company, because we had no prior experience on building a company, like building a business, running a business, having employees, having, production in Portugal. Like, we knew nothing. So we said, well, can we learn as much as we can? And I mean, today I have a team, sometimes they do things and I'm like, I have no clue how you did that. And I could not help for the life of me, because it's just like, it's not my level of expertise, and
Of
I'm so
course.
grateful. But I still know like a lot of things in the company, and I still
Yeah.
have understanding of like, okay, this customer needs this kind of help. Okay, I can come in and I can help here. Okay, the e-com
Yes.
images, the campaign images, there's so many things that I can kind of jump in and help with now if
Yeah.
needed, which is really nice.
That's so good. And how did you hire, like you started with Agnes. So it was you, Rasmus, and Agnes.
Yeah.
And then how did the team grow from there?
Well, after Agnes, we hired a summer intern
Okay.
for social media. But at that time, again, like you kind of had to like jump in wherever it was needed.
Yes.
But that was Mimi, and she was such a wonderful help. I mean, those days, I look back on those days and I'm like, we had the best time because it was the four
Yeah.
of us, and we were just like, we had no clue what we were doing really, but we were doing it all. And it was such a like, the teamwork was just unreal. And I'm so grateful looking back at those days because it's really
Yeah.
like what started it all. And that they even believed in me enough to work with us when we were such a tiny company and we had no business plan. Like we still don't have a proper business plan. Like we didn't have like a 5-year goal or a 3-year goal. So they just genuinely like believed in my vision, which is such a surreal feeling.
Yeah.
And then after that, we hired customer service. Agnes got a production like assistant, and then we hired our like e-commerce manager, and it kind of just like kept on going from there. Like we just had to hire more and more and more.
And so, to someone that wants to start their own business and their own clothing brand, what would you say are like the first kind of 3 steps that you should make? Now, looking back, would you change anything? Would you do it the same?
I think I honestly would do it the same. And
Yeah.
I want to start off by saying, like, you have to like to work. Like, you have to genuinely enjoy working to start your own company. Because I think a lot of times running a business is really romanticized, but it's
Yes.
so much work and it's so much hard work. And you're going to be in situations where it really feels like hopeless, but you will always push through. But it really is like, it's so much work. So you have to like to work.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy working, I would say don't start a business.
Yeah.
It's not like you can find something else that you'll enjoy more. But for me, like the top 3 things, it's really understanding why you're starting the business. Is it to like fill a gap in the market, or is it because you're genuinely passionate about this product that you're, wanting to start?
Yeah.
And then for me, it was really important to kind of understand where I wanted to produce the items, because that really makes such a big difference. If you produce in Europe, there are other ways to go about some things. And if you produce in Asia, there's gonna, like shipping will take longer.
Exactly.
Like in Portugal, it was really nice because we could do a truck and it took a week for the truck to go from Portugal to Sweden.
Yeah.
Where so if we did Asia, it would be a boat, like 3 months.
Yeah.
So I think you really need to decide also with like pricing strategy, like where you produce really makes the big difference. And then just find somebody that really believes in you and that can help you with big and small things. Because I mean, we can
A right hand.
Yeah, like you can do it yourself 100%, but you will need somebody to just bounce ideas off of.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to necessarily be like a business partner. It could be a friend that you can chat with, but you're gonna be in situations where you're gonna need guidance and help and just, kind of like I said, bounce ideas off of.
And sometimes even if you know like deep down what it is you want to do or which direction you want to go, sometimes just sitting with someone and just telling them your idea, it will bring something else up.
Exactly.
And as you say, if you can't afford to hire someone, you could do that with your friendship group.
Yeah.
We have with a few of my friends that have their own businesses, we do this thing where we'll tell each other like honest, brutal feedback and ideas. So if, like, for example, one of my friends, if she has a jewelry brand or something, I'll send her an idea and I'll be like, oh my God, this should be your next product. And she'll do the same with me. And it's so nice to just be open and sharing, and you don't need all those people kind of directly in your company, but being able to have it around you, I think is so important. Yeah,
it is so important. I mean, I had like my parents were with me like when we did our first campaign shoot. They came with us and they helped me steam the items because that helped me because I was the model, and then we just had a makeup artist and Rasmus took the photos. Like just having like our friends, the way that they helped us pack the orders, like that was so appreciated and important for us to have that help.
Yeah.
So it's just like you said, you don't need to hire people, but just having like some sort
Support
of support
system.
system
Yeah.
really does make a big difference.
I love how close you are with your family. It's so
I'm
nice.
such a family person.
It's the best, you know. I'm the same, and my
Yeah.
dad works with me, and I feel so
I love
lucky that I know.
Yeah.
And having that solid support system, and if you don't have it within your family, getting the friends around you,
Yeah.
and even your team as you grow, you
Yeah.
know, I can see that you are, like, even last night, you're more of like a family vibe with your
Yeah.
team rather than, you know. Okay, so then as you grew, how did it change? So then you started, you know, obviously you then got an office. So you had your customer service team.
Yeah.
Then you opened it. Was it this office from day one, or?
We had another office from day one. It was a smaller, like a courtyard kind of like house.
Yeah.
And then we eventually grew out of it. So we said like we have to get a bigger office. And I've always seen myself in an office that feels like a home. I've always
Yes.
wanted like guests to come in and feel like, oh, I'm visiting your guys' like apartment. So when I found this office, I was like, I need it. And me and Rasmus were walking around. We were just laughing because it was echoing and it was so huge. And we're like, we can never fill up this space. And then I think it took like a year, and then we were like, okay, we need more space.
Yeah, and it does feel like that. We were just saying as we walked in, you've got your kitchen, you know, your dogs running around. It's so sweet. Can you tell me a little bit about community and what that means to you? Because as we were saying last night, there are so many people and businesses that see it as more of a tick box, but I really feel like you are, if you want to say it in this way, like almost owning the space of like people really look to you guys and what you're doing in terms of community. So tell me how it all started, doing all these huge community activations.
Well, for me, it's just been like such a given thing. Like the community is the heart and core of what the brand is. I mean, without our community and our customers, and even not just like paying customers, but also just like people who support us and follow us. Without them, like we wouldn't be where we are today. I wouldn't be sitting here with you probably. So I mean, they're really like the core and the foundation of the entire brand. Since day one, we've had our customers and community members as our models. Like even from the first photo shoot that we did, 2019. And that was just important for me because I came from like the e-commerce modeling backside where, you know, like you would sit in a makeup chair for 4 hours and they would like pin in the clothes and they would retouch your photos. And I just remember always feeling so gutted and so bad about myself when I saw the images. And I knew that, okay, when we start a brand, I want to do it the right way. And the right way will always look different for everyone. But the right way for us just meant like full transparency. Like if it needs to feel authentic. It needs to feel real. So we've had our customers as models since day one, which is actually funny because we just did a campaign shoot where we recreated the Vogue cover, like the legendary like British Vogue where they did like 40. And we just recreated that. And it's the first time we get noticed for having our customers as models, even though we've done it for 5 years.
How interesting.
Yeah, because we got so much feedback. Like, it's so amazing that you have your customers as models, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's always been like that. Like,
how
it's always been at the core of our brand to have our customers as models.
And I think we were saying before that you give so much in these moments. So you go to the events, you're the first one that arrives, you're the last one that leaves. And that is amazing and it's so important to do. And also it's just like, those are the moments where it's like the brand comes to life and you just think, oh my God, this is crazy what an impact you're having. But on the flip side of that, it probably is also you give everything. So your social battery is like completely zero at the end of the day. I know I feel like that. Even though you're so filled up and you're so happy, but you're also like almost depleted in that sense. So what do you do to make sure you're maintaining this kind of strong mindset and resilient mindset and energy for what you do every day? What do you do for you?
I need to get better at doing things for myself, and I'm very aware of that. Like small things that I do, for me, like my mornings are holy. I'm like, nobody can, like, don't touch my mornings.
No,
I need a morning for myself. And like things I do in the morning, it's like really basic things, but it's like I try to prioritize journaling, just to like write down my feelings. I drink my morning coffee in like complete silence. Sometimes I'll put like music on to get in the right mood. You know, I have my like skincare routine that I always do, and I'm very like, I make it a moment. I make sure that I never feel stressed when I get ready. So I love waking up like 2 hours before I actually need to like get out the door. I have, when we moved apartments back in February, I now have infrared sauna in my apartment, which is like,
A
it
game
made,
changer.
yeah, it's the best because then I can just like turn it on. I can sit in there. I usually do like 45 minutes and I just sit in there in like silence and I read my book and it really just like does recharge me.
The best.
It's so good. And then I have my like daily workouts. It's like the 1 hour in the day where it's like nobody wants anything from me. I don't have to make any decisions. Like I just do what my trainer tells me to do and that's it.
Yeah.
And those like little things have been really like key for me.
Yeah.
Just making sure that I prioritize taking time for myself.
Yes.
No matter if it's just like reading a book or like laying in bed watching a movie with my my dog and my boyfriend. But it's not really bigger than that. It's like really small things that make the difference for me.
Totally. And it's always those moments where you can just sit and just be, and that like you say, no one needs anything from you, and you can just respond exactly how you feel. You can write down, you can, have your journal there, have your coffee. And tell me about your workouts. What do you do to work out and feel your best?
Well, I do like a few different things. I have a trainer that I work out with like 4 times a week. So we do like strength training. We do more like circuit workouts.
Yeah.
I box with him, and I love that sort of workout. Like I love the really like intense, like lifting heavy. I feel like that's an unpopular opinion for a woman. I feel like all the girls that I speak to are like, I love lifting light, but I'm like, for me, like lifting heavy just makes me feel really, really strong.
Yeah.
And it just
pushing
makes,
yourself.
exactly, and just like makes my mind also feel really strong. And then boxing just gets all my emotions out.
Yes.
Like if I have a bad day, because I do deal with a lot of like anxiety, boxing just like, because you're so in the zone that you don't have time to think about anything else. But then I also do Pilates. I love your classes. I have my little like room at home where I like roll out my mat and I do it, and it just makes me feel really good.
It was so sweet, that picture you tagged with like Rufus. He's so cute.
He's like, he does not understand personal space when I work out. He like comes and then Rasmus is trying to like get away, like take him away from me because like
but they
he
think
knows
you're
my
playing
workout.
when you're lying down. They're
He's
like,
oh,
yay.
perfect for kisses. I'm like,
I
playing
know.
with the ball. No, so he's funny. And then I do this like one thing. It's called, we were talking about it last night, like Garuda. It's like a version of Pilates, but it's a little bit more like flexibility and like a lot of like stretching as well.
So nice.
So I think that's like
a really nice split that you've got, the different types. That's really good.
Yeah.
And I think people would kill me if I didn't ask about your beauty, skincare, hair care, everything.
Yeah.
And your skin is honestly glowing. It is.
I'm sweating.
It's
That's
even
probably it.
It's sweat. No, it's a glow. So tell me, what do you use? What are your like hero products?
For beauty, I like to keep it pretty simple.
Yes.
But I know that we share the same love for like ice rolling the face.
Oh,
it's so nice.
Good.
I've done it for like 3 months and I'm just like, it just like wakes me up. Because before I would just like dip my entire head in ice.
Yeah.
But ice rolling is just,
it's so good. We use the same one, don't we?
Yeah,
The
so
Skinny Confidential. I use the travel one, the mint roll.
Yeah. I love it.
I did it this morning in the ice bucket.
It's so good. I have the big one as well. I like sit, and I also think that's a moment for like self-care.
Yes.
Because like you just sit there and you ice roll your face and you have a moment to just like reflect.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And then I use the entire like Rhode skincare line because it's really like scale back and easy for me. But I also love Tower 28 has this like rescue mist, I believe it's called.
Ooh.
It's really nice to just spray your face, especially when like traveling.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, it's nice. And then I wish my skincare routine was like exciting and fun.
No, I love the minimal ones because when it's like 8 steps, I just can't do it.
No,
I like a 3-step thing, a bit of SPF, and then.
Yeah, I'm like trying to see my like skincare routine on my like the cabinet, but it's like the Rhode. I like Summer Fridays. They have like their jet lag series. I think it's really nice.
Oh, it's so nice.
And Barbara Sturm. Love their calming serum and love their face mask. So I feel like I've used Rhode, Summer Fridays, and Barbara Sturm for like 2 years
a really
now.
long
It's
time.
been really like consistent with it.
Yeah.
So I'm not that exciting when it comes to skincare. It's more like I always make sure to wash my face, even when I'm tired. Like wash the face. I've recently stopped this year. I've stopped washing my face in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't cleanse my face in the morning.
Just water.
Yeah, water or like micellar water.
Oh, okay, nice.
And it's mostly because like I work out usually at like 9 or 10 these days.
So you do it after.
Exactly. And I also feel like you put so much wonderful stuff on your face before you go to bed. Why wash
Yeah.
it off?
That's true. That's true. And also, you probably have the natural oils and
Yeah.
everything. And then in terms of makeup, what are
Yeah.
your go-tos? Because I love your minimal look.
Yeah, for the life of me, I'm not good at like heavy makeup. I do not know how to put
Well,
on
you don't
eyeshadow.
need it.
Do you know how to put on eyeshadow?
No,
No.
clearly. Look at me. Look at me.
I genuinely don't. Like, I did once. Like, I tried eyeshadow once, and I was like, "Why does it look like I walked into like a pole or something? Like, it
Oh,
did
yeah.
not look good."
I look whack. If I try
Yeah.
and do like a flick, or
Yeah.
I tried a slight flick today, but
Yeah.
no, it wasn't happening.
Well, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
But I love like when makeup artists do my makeup, I'm like, I love it because it's their, for me, like that's their form of, creative. Like that's how
Yes.
they get the creative, like
Yeah.
little thing out of their mind. Anywho, my makeup, it's always like just a skin tint.
Yes.
Recently, I've actually really enjoyed Kylie Cosmetics skin tint.
Ooh.
And then I usually mix it out with the glazing milk by
Okay,
Rhode.
nice.
And then it's always just like a blush,
Yeah.
a brow gel,
Yeah.
and that's like
Which
it.
blush, which brow gel?
Well, I have a couple of different ones that I like. Again, I like Rhode's blush.
Oh, I'm dying to try it.
It's so good.
It looks
It's just
so
like
good.
I like it because it's really like blendable and easy. So
Yeah.
I can also like put it on like a bare face,
Yes.
which is important for me.
Yeah.
But then Tower 28 has a really nice blush as well.
Oh, okay.
And which one else? There's a Pat McGrath one that I really like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. It's in this like little like pink stick.
Oh, I know which one you mean. Yeah.
And then I really like, so Sophia Tilbury did my makeup when I was in London.
Yes.
And she used the like Flawless foundation stick.
Oh, yes.
For like the high points on my face. And I've loved using that product that way ever since. Because it's like I believe it's like shade 10. So it's slightly like bronzed for me.
Okay.
And I like use it on like my, here.
Oh, really nice.
How do I explain this area? The cheekbones
above
and,
the eyebrows.
Yeah.
That like sunburnt Mary
Exactly.
Phillips kind of zone.
It's really nice. It's that product I like genuinely love. I've never used it like on my entire face.
Okay.
But for the high points and like a darker
darker.
shade.
Nice.
So good. That was,
It's very
she taught
blendable.
me. Yeah.
Oh, I love
And then I can't speak. Brow gel is Anastasia Beverly Hills.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's been since like
the brow
2018.
freeze one.
No, just like the brow gel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I use the Refi brow tint. That's really good as well.
Refi is so good. I also love Refi's blush.
Yes.
So good.
They have really good shades.
Yeah.
Malaya, I think, is one of them. That's really nice.
And I love the red one because it's like red, but not
red.
yes.
Yeah.
It's like a subtle red. It's so good.
No,
I love
it's so good. We love her. And tell me about your iconic hair, because this morning when I was doing my hair, I was like, oh, why can't I just do my hair like hers?
Gosh, you look gorgeous. My hair today is not, it's not nice.
It's so nice and I love the shade. So tell us how you get the bounce, the flick. How does it all happen? Because you make it look effortless.
Oh. I'm like, is it effortless?
Effortlessly, like loads of effort.
No, but it's all about the products I use, of
Yes.
course. That's why I also like started Djerf Avenue Beauty because I could never find like a shampoo and conditioner or like styling products that I kept on going back to. Like I would always bop around and try different things. So that's kind of like why I wanted to create my own products. So for me, it really like it starts with the shampoo and conditioner. So when I do a blowout, I always use our Breezy series because it's good for like that weightless feeling.
Okay.
I wash my hair like twice a week, maybe like once a week to twice a week.
Okay, this is the secret, I think.
Well, at least for me, like I feel like it, it works different for everybody's hair, but my hair doesn't really get greasy. I mean, it does, but somew I kind of like
you can
work around
with it. Yeah.
It does get harder when you do like a sweaty workout because then you
And if you do the sauna, I often get asked this. I live for dry shampoo.
Same.
I know.
Same.
It's probably gross, but I mean,
who cares? It's efficient.
Exactly. Somehow, like the sweat mixed with the dry shampoo actually gives you a bit of
texture.
Vim.
Exactly.
Like vava vim.
Exactly. It's so true. No, so I wash my hair. I try to do a hair mask once a week.
Yes.
And then
And is that a Djerf Avenue one
Yeah.
that you? Yeah. Okay. I need to
Uh,
try all the
no,
products.
you do. I'll send you.
Thank
I think you're gonna love it. We've had
I'm
the
so
best
excited.
feedback with our shampoo and conditioner hair mask, which is really fun because I was a little like scared to launch it because I feel like
Yes.
hair care and like styling products,
Mhm.
that's one thing, but like hair care, like shampoo and conditioner, like it's such a different thing. People are so particular with it. Like
It's hard to
I am as
nail.
well. Exactly. But I mean the formulation, like the feeling, like the foaming, I mean with like I've been so
Nailed it.
nitty gritty with it, and I genuinely like I love them so much.
Oh my god.
And then I style my hair, and I use our styling mist.
Mhm.
But then I also like sometimes I will use like more hair oil if my hair is really dry.
Yeah.
I'll use like a styling cream, but mostly it's just the styling mist, and then I.
Do you use a round brush?
Yes.
Yeah. And a Dyson?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, a Dyson is so good because
So
it's like
good.
it's made for the consumer, so it's so easy to use.
Yes.
But if you have a round brush and you know how to work a blow dryer, like
Yeah.
that's all you need.
And is the key to the bounce getting layers cut in?
Yes.
Okay. See, this is what I'm
Never had a
scared of.
quicker yes.
I
Like,
know.
yes.
Because I can see it's just
Yeah.
so different when you have the
Yeah.
layers.
No, but that's the thing because when your hair is just one length, like you're not gonna get the same bounce. It's when you
Yeah.
have the layers that you get the dimensions.
Movement. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's the layers are very efficient when you
Okay.
need, the little boom.
I love it. Okay, so I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but I'm just gonna try and get the most out of this by doing a really like quick fire round.
Okay. I'm not good with quick fire.
Well, I always make it up on the spot, so who
I
knows
always
what's
end up
coming.
talking too much.
I
so
know,
you'll
but
have to
that's
stop
okay.
me.
That's okay. So, what would you say has been the biggest challenge for you since global domination?
Really like tuning out all the naysayers and like all of other people's opinions and really like focusing inwards. I mean, I feel like I'm good at it, but it's like the constant battle
Yeah.
of like focusing inwards and not focusing too much on what's going around.
And how do you do that?
I try to really like listen to my gut. Like, what
Yeah.
is my gut telling me? Like, what's the first feeling in my gut when I hear something? And then I just really try. Like I said, I deal with a lot of anxiety, so sometimes it's really difficult.
Mhm.
But I try to just be really vocal about what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking with
Yeah.
people I trust. And then I try to really just like tune into myself. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? Like, what do I think about these things? Like, what's the right path for me?
Yeah. No, I love that. And what are your top 3 wellness tools? Can be anything from like an ice roller or a journal or whatever.
I would say a journal for
Yeah.
the mental health. I would say Rufus. That's not a
Yes.
tool, but
I
he's so
completely
good for my
agree.
mental health. And then I think like the sauna,
Yeah.
honestly, because you just like sweat everything out. You always feel so good afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just, and I don't think you necessarily need like an infrared sauna. I'd say like go to like your local spa or like in Sweden. Maybe this is easier said than done because I live in the Nordics where like
Yes,
saunas
where
are
you can
very
exactly.
popular here.
You can now get because I honestly like hearing your morning routine is the exact same as mine, and I
Yeah.
also just invested in an infrared sauna.
Yeah.
And it's because I have arthritis, so
Yeah.
it helps me so much. But I've seen you can get infrared sauna blankets as
Yes.
well, which look amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And even like the red light panels.
yes, they're
Like
really
you can get
cool.
that as well.
Yeah.
And like you said, like for me, it was just like such a good investment because it's so expensive to go and
Yeah.
sauna in Sweden because we
Yeah.
don't have a lot of places that offer the infrared. So I was just like, if I pay this one amount, like I'm
The
gonna get
best
it back
investment.
so quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And I would rather buy that than anything else.
Yeah.
That's like to me like the biggest
Yeah.
investment. And what is the book that you've read that changed your life?
Such a good question. I have the Daily Stoic.
Yes.
And I genuinely I love that one.
It's so good.
Yeah, I do
Like
it every year.
I do it. Yeah, I do it every day.
Yeah.
And over and over.
Exactly. Every single year I do it.
Yeah.
Like
Because
again, you forget.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so easy for people. And I would actually say, and this is like supposed to be a quick fire round, but I think people should, like everyone should buy that book because it gives you one lesson a day
Exactly.
and it can really change the course of your day. And it
100%.
relates to something new, or
Exactly.
like you say, if you're using it one year, then the next year you'll read the same lesson, but you'll relate to it in a different way.
Yeah.
It's just like one paragraph a day.
Yeah, it's such a quick read, so it's
Yeah.
not like you can blame it, like, oh, I don't have time, because like you have time.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it just kind of like, if it's the first thing you read in the morning, it just like puts you in a mindset, which I think
Yes.
is really good. So I love that one. My dad gave it to me for Christmas 2 years ago.
That's so
Yeah.
sweet. Oh, I love that. And what are your favorite podcasts?
Yours?
Oh,
It really is.
oh, I love you.
I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, which is strange.
I died when you messaged and said that. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, like this is, because you don't realize that you don't think about someone
Yeah.
listening at home. And I was like, oh my God, please will you come on mine?
No, I was like, it's like we said yesterday, Alex, who I work with, he's
Yeah.
like, you're doing a podcast, Matilda? He's like, you never say yes to those things. I'm like, yes, it's just my favorite. No, so I love yours.
Thank you.
And I think it's like, it's such a good balance between like health, but also like business and just like real conversations. And your voice is so nice to listen to.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm ruining this episode with my voice.
No, your voice.
Your voice is so like
I'm going to
soothing.
embarrass Catherine now, but this morning we were talking about your voice, and Catherine goes, she's really loud. Catherine goes, her voice is just so sexy. Like, if I was a guy and I heard her voice, I would just die. It's
Oh my God, I've never heard that before. I'm obsessed. Thank
she's dying.
you. What else? I love Jay Shetty's podcast.
Yes. On purpose, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
That's
just like longer episodes as well, so it works when
Yeah.
I'm traveling.
Yeah, really good.
What else do I listen to?
Have you heard of Lewis Howes?
No.
He's amazing. You would love him.
Oh,
Really
maybe
good.
it's a
Kind of
message to me today.
similar vibe to Jay Shetty.
Okay, nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really good.
I love a podcast where I kind of like leave the episode feeling
Yes.
good and like
Yeah.
leaving it with, like actually like new insights and like new
Tips.
information. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be like super deep. It could also just be like, oh, this face mask is so good.
Yes.
But I love when it's just like, it feels genuine and like easy to listen to.
I like it when you feel as if you're just like, if you're, I don't know, organizing your clothes or wardrobe at home and you have your friend over and you're sitting on the floor. Like,
Exactly.
I like that type of
Same.
conversation.
Yeah.
And what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
To follow my gut.
Yeah.
It's like such an easy advice, I think. But for me, that's been the key. Because I mean, coming from like a small town and then kind of like going after my dream at a really young age and always like just following my own path, I've had a lot of people telling me like, you can't do this, you don't have any experience in this area, like bop. So I think just like really tuning inwards and following my own gut feeling and like actually doing it and not just saying that I'm doing it has really been like life-changing for me.
Yeah, I love that. And lastly, what is your wellness philosophy?
Oh my God. Do you always ask this? I feel like I would.
I just threw this.
Why did I not prepare?
No, because for you, I think you're like, as we said last night, people coming to your page, it's so comforting.
Yeah.
It's just so like cozy and accepting and inviting and everything. And I think you have that in your own wellness philosophy and idea. And so whatever, it can be anything.
I don't know if it'll make sense, but like the first things that I kind of think about is, first of all, like really staying true to myself.
Yeah.
That's like in whatever I do, that's the key for me. Because as long as I'm always staying true to myself, I know that I'll make the right decisions and I know that I'll prioritize whatever I need to prioritize. But I also think that really like listening to what my body needs and what my mind needs.
Yeah.
Because like I know I have my like daily workouts, scheduled. I have this and that scheduled. But if I don't feel like it one day, like I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. If I don't feel like doing this, whatever it is, like I need to make sure that I feel good. And if I don't feel good doing something, and not like the oh, this makes me nervous kind of thing. But if I feel like in my gut that this does not feel right for me, like today I need to take a day off, or, like I have a lot of anxiety today, I've been crying, like I need to also be able to be like vocal about it and be transparent about it. And I think for me, that's what I mean by saying like, I need to stay authentic to who I am and really just like honor whatever it is that I'm going through, whatever I'm feeling.
And that self-acceptance. That was so good. Really good.
I feel like I said 4 different things in one sentence.
No, it was perfect. It was perfect. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
I've loved this and I can't wait to buy all the things and do all the tips that you've shared. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.